Ladies and gentlemen, bout number 3 is the World WKO Junior World title over 5 1.5-minute rounds of action, matched at 50K, as sponsored by the Storm Gym. Would you welcome first, into the blue corner, Raul Silva. And would you welcome his opponent into the red corner, Mason Storm Sloan. This is the WKO Junior World title over 5 1.5-minute rounds, matched at 50K. And in the blue corner, he weighed in at 49.3K. He has a 55-fight record, 50 wins and only 5 losses. Representing KO Team Portugal, Raul Silva. And his opponent in the red corner, he also weighed in at 49.3K. He has a 46-fight record, 34 wins, 10 losses and 2 draws. Representing the Storm Gym, Mason Storm Sloan. Your referee for this world title, Mr. Chris Batcheldor.
So as the final instructions are given here at your call, both youngsters looked pumped and ready for it. WKO Junior World title action contested over 5 1.5-minute rounds. Blue corner for Raul Silva, red corner for Mason Sloan. Both guys have an outstanding record and really excited to show it off at 49 kilos this afternoon. Would you believe it, Malcolm? Here are the numbers. Raul Silva, 55 fights and 50 wins, 46 fights, 34 wins for his opponent, Mason Sloan. Unbelievable experience for both guys. Great to see 5 rounds for it.
Well, we've seen Mason Storm before, a very exciting young fighter, and that's his nickname. It's Mason Storm Sloan, obviously. But as you saw there with the attempt for the jumping knee, a very exciting young fighter. He's got the height advantage here. And again, at this weight, the pace should be exceptional. 5 1.5-minute rounds, Chris.
Yeah, both guys very tall for the weight, and of course their age, 5-centimeter advantage, as you alluded to from Mason. Edge and experience, though, for Raul, and of course, unbelievable record at 50-5. So, but Mason has more stoppages, and that could be a factor. You're seeing some different strategies already being employed from both youngsters, and different stances.
Well, we've got the southpaw stance at times from Mason Sloan. And he's going to be talked to here by Chris Batcheldor.
And Chris obviously making it very clear that they need to watch where they're placing their shots. Control your shots, said Chris. So touch of gloves. Southpaw to orthodox. Quite a bit of switch hitting here from the Storm team.
Well, it's that control for the head contact at this. It's junior world level, Chris, under that rule set. So the head contact's got to be very careful. But as we expected, a very fast-paced start indeed from these two. And Mason really needs to make that height work for him and keep Raul at bay, because as you said, Raul, that 55-fight record, he's very confident. He's come from abroad, he's had to travel, you wouldn't know it. He's supremely confident in there, and that's that huge amount of experience. You know, we normally talk about Thai fighters, young Thais at his age with 55, 60 fights. This young man, it's going to be a tough call for Mason Sloan, but you know what? Look what the Storm Gym have done, rightly so. If they want this title, you've got to fight someone with that experience to make it meaningful.
You bet. And both guys, you know, went out there and said in the run-up, I don't matter, you know, it doesn't matter who's in front of me, it doesn't matter where it is, it doesn't matter what people say. I want to be a world champion, and I love seeing that mentality at a young level. You know, this amateur platform from the WKO, being able to put these guys out there to compete for that title of being the best in the world in their weight class, it's a real privilege to be able to call the action. 2 of 5.
And the other thing here as well, Chris, is you've got the orthodox versus southpaw stance, which means when you throw your lead, you're always in danger of the counter from the strong arm or leg of your opponent when we've got this sort of style. And there's what Sloan does well. He drives that roundhouse into the midsection of his opponent, and it's about timing. You've got to catch him as he's coming in. Now, I think Silva was complaining about where that blow landed.
That was a nice knee as well from Mason Sloan. He knew exactly when to throw the kick, bounced off the ropes, grabbed the clinch, loaded up for the knee, and then knew he was going to get separated. So a lot of education here from Mason. Nice knee again. Again, perfect stuff. Clinches, throws the knee, 1 strike. He knows Chris is going to separate him, and you know, Chris will keep telling him to work and make sure they keep things clean.
Now Silva's going to be warned about the headshot here. Maybe even a point deducted. He's been warned before. And he wants the coach to translate to him that at this junior level, you cannot throw the punches to the head. They got the body shields in. You can throw the punches to the body, but you can't to the head there. Now, we saw it once in the first round. It connected in the second. And I think Chris is going to give him, with the language barrier, the benefit of the doubt this second and last time. But Silva needs to be wary of that, because you don't want to be losing a close fight anyway, simply by almost throwing a round away by losing the points.
So Raul Silva coming by way of Portugal from the KO team. We've seen that left hand. He talked about being able to throw that left. He said, I've worked on it in camp. It's been a factor, but he's got to get behind that jab to the body if he wants to be able to negate the reach advantage of his opponent right now. Mason stepping away, then beautifully attacking the legs.
This is the difference between the two, Chris. When you're looking as judges at ringside, as we've seen from him before, very flamboyant. And again, very careful. Even though he jumps in with the knee, he knows exactly where to land the technique. And then do you notice he turns on the end of it and turns away?
So 3rd round coming up here at the York Hall for the Super Fight Series. WKO Junior World Title on the line at 49 kilograms.
And as you see from the replays here, Sloan closes the gap nicely and works as his opponent comes in. Stepping back, wait, skips aside, and then you would have seen the retaliation there from Sloan. So 2 rounds down, it's very close, but you do see the young man in the red corner representing the Storm Gym, lets the judges see that flamboyant technique, lets them see him coming forward. And here we go with 3 of 5. So, Chris, I've got it very close still, but Sloan does make sure that he's very showy in his technique as well, which does help the judges.
But for me, the low kick counter right now is the biggest difference. Mason Sloan has been able to land that quite a bit. He got on target a few times really solidly in the 2nd round. Already landed it 3 times in a row here in the 3rd.
And that roundhouse, as you said, from that rear southpaw stance is causing Silva problems here. And again, he's first to the punch when it comes to the knee, metaphorically. It's like when they both clinch up, it's automatic from Sloan. And again, I love the way he's wise beyond his years in the way he turns off the center line. He'll throw his knee, he'll jump in with the knee, and then he'll spin. And that just disorientates Silva for that brief second to allow him to readjust again.
And Silva's going for some different techniques here, but for me, I think it's just been a little bit more physical approach, the quicker approach, the faster chambering, the less I think telegraphing as well. It seems to me that Mason's just a couple of steps ahead right now, and I think that that's the difference. Beautiful there. Both guys exchanging those push kicks, and Mason just that little bit more in position. He kept him right in the end of the strike, and that, for me, the story of the fight right now.
I agree with you 100%, Chris. It's not much in it. They're both incredible young athletes, as you said, but for me, timing, distancing, and again, just that little bit of extra flamboyance. And where there's no headshots, it gives you that little bit of latitude to risk. Let's be honest here. Sloan has risked jumping knees. He's risked coming in, spinning and turning when he throws the knee, because at the moment in this part of their learning curve and in their careers, there's no headshots. That little bit of afforded freedom, he's really capitalizing on.
So the fourth round here, the championship rounds in the Super Fight Series. Chris Hoekstra alongside Malcolm Martin here. What a beautiful afternoon in June, and what a great way to celebrate two young men with very bright futures in the martial arts. So unofficially, I would say at ringside, Malk, we got the hometown hero, Mason Sloan, up in this contest, but Raul Silva has made some adjustments. The big thing is, can he make more successful adjustments into those championship rounds?
That's the thing. I mean, at the moment, if you look at the two, he's the more orthodox in every way. Forget the stances, the southpaw and the orthodox. In terms of technique, Silva does everything well, but it's very standard stuff. And what Sloan does is, here again, you see those turns and throws, and then he'll jump in with the knee. He'll then suddenly throw the rear leg push kick. It's little adjustments, now a side kick, whereas you can see Silva wants to close the gap and then use what we call the bread and butter techniques. Just that little bit of adjustment needed, again, said, because Sloan's doing it all here.
Beautiful stuff. They're shuttling the leg kick attack from Silva. Silva led in that exchange. He kicked first. Mason actually rocked it to the side and then countered with a kick of his own. The thing is, though, now twice, there we go. Now he's reached for the clinch. He wasn't going for the clinch earlier. It would seem to me that his corner wanted to go for work on the base, to chop at that base. I think they sensed that maybe Silva's starting to be a little bit worse for wear.
And just as you said that, Chris, the lead leg targeted twice in a row there. And what he's doing as well, and again, when you don't have to worry about protecting your head, he can bring that rear leg through to chop at the lead leg more easily and with actual power, not worrying about maybe getting his head knocked off on the way in. And Sloan is using that as well to his advantage.
Yeah, it's not the same strategy that you often see in this type of kickboxing bout, where you get guys who will try to box someone who leads with kicks like that. And so for me, I think it's a smart decision given the rule set, and it should be a winning decision to be able to take these rounds. He's certainly convincingly won at least 3 of these, I would say.
And I love the way, as I said, he turns. We're right at the bell here, but he spins his man again, forcing Silva to readjust. Now, I'm a lot older than you, Chris, so I use that old term. Silva's a meat and potatoes fighter. You know what you're going to get. He does it very well. It's very tasty. You love it, but it's very basic. And that's the difference between the two. And I'm not taking anything away from him. It's very basic, but he does it very, very well. But then you've got someone that also does it very well with that little bit of imagination.
But a couple of vegetables as well, right?
Exactly. A couple of little side things, and maybe a drizzling of a nice sauce on there. And this is what Sloan's doing. He always turns. You notice he's always on the move as well. And then, as we alluded to, when he throws that kick to the lead leg of his opponent, he's got the time and the safety to throw the rear leg, which doubles up the impact. He's just doing that little bit better, that little bit more often.
And it wasn't that you didn't see in the replay there Silva scoring with that knee. He kind of tapped him with the knee, but every time Silva lands something, Mason has landed 2 or 3. So for me, he's outpointing him here right now. I don't think he's going to be able to stop Silva. You know, Mason does have 10 stoppages on the record. I don't see that happening in the next 90 seconds, but the corner obviously wanted to turn up the heat on that base and attack with those low kicks. We've got one more round here. Both fighters fall into an embrace. What sportsmanship, but I think right now it's a championship winning performance for Mason Sloan.
And when they say turn up the heat, I think you'll see the flamboyance turn up as well, the movement. But that's right now from Silva. That's the right thing to do. He jumped across the ring looking to tie up Sloan and throw that knee in. But there's those long limbs. I mean, that turn again, he turned so sweetly off that center line.
Interesting. Silva going for the clinch there. Is that the strategy? Do they want to try to land some knees? The thing is that Mason promised going into this bout that his kicks were his best weapon. Tonight, I think he's delivered.
Yes, I mean, that push kick, and there's a slip there, and I don't think that'll be scored either way, but his front push kick off either leg, his big kicks to the leg of his opponent, and then those jumping knees, they catch the judge's eyes when you jump up, especially as we've seen he's landed a number of those across the rounds. And for me, it's just a difference of that flamboyance is beginning to tell on his opponent. He hasn't figured him out throughout these 5 rounds, Chris.
Low kick again there. Nice blitz here. Silva was looking for that clinch in the knee, but the thing that Mason does so well is those little things in the chaos and the exchanges. He kind of leans away from his kicks to avoid being in a bad position, loads up on power nicely. He pivots and changes the angle. Look at that. Beautiful stepping in there, showing the kick, and then just switches up for power on that rear knee. Just very educated kickboxing right now from me, Mason Sloan. I would say at least 4 of those rounds, if not a clean sweep. It was a competitive and game performance from Raul Silva, but tonight, I think Sloan's done enough.
I agree with you, Chris. There's not much to add to that. It was the difference between the tactics of the 2 men and the flamboyant ability of Mason Sloan. He figured out the fact that Silva was very good at what he did, but he came in at straight lines. And if you think about across those 5 rounds, always turning Sloan. And for me, that's the simplest difference between the 2. He was never there to be hit in a straight line.
And here's some of that beautiful action. We saw Raul looking for the clinch and Silva dominating with that plum grip, but of course, under limited clinch rules, it's kind of about getting that 1 strike and then getting out. Look at that, though. Beautiful stuff there, blocking the kick and then countering with a low kick of his own. Excellent back and forth action from 2 young up-and-comers with a bright future, but tonight, there can only be one. We'll get the announcement here from Malcolm Martin at ringside for the Super Fight Series.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the official announcement, it's worth noticing that we have got 2 young men in this ring with almost 100 fights experience between them. 2 incredible young athletes. But we do have a unanimous decision, and the WKO Junior World Title belt goes around the waist of the young man from the red corner, Mason "Storm" Sloan.
So Mason Sloan has done it tonight here at the York Hall. There was a slew of titles for his opponent, Raul Silva, coming over from Portugal. 5 times kick light champ, Portuguese national K1 champ, among other accolades. Though the World Championship will stay here in Greater London tonight. Mason Sloan, your new WKO Junior World Champion, now improves with his 51st career win.